So I was just outside thinking about this thing that I said in that last video about tests. I thought it'd be kind of interesting to sort of expand on that idea. What am I talking about? What do I mean by tests? And I'm talking specifically about spiritual tests. So for those who don't know, I moved to North Carolina. I moved to a mountain forest at the beginning of the year. So I've been here for about 6 months now, about a half a year. And I just, because I wanted to get back into nature. I wanted to disconnect from technology, and I wanted to kind of change my life a little bit. And so I got into nature. I mean, I could walk out any of my doors and I'm like smack dab in the middle of a forest. I'm just surrounded. I'm engulfed with nature. I mean, there's just nothing but trees and birds and animals and insects and clouds and, the sun and the sky and the stars at night. I mean, it's an amazing place. I mean, it's just, I feel very, very, in the last 6 months, I feel very, very connected to nature and the power of nature, because there's an enormous amount of power in nature. And I just, I'm really starting to tap into that kind of stuff. And I've really leveled up a lot in the last 6 months. And I've had some experiences, especially the last couple of weeks. I've had some just mind blowing experiences. I mean, the kind of stuff, once you have these kinds of experiences, it just sort of makes everything else look, or a lot of other things, just look trivial or mundane. And so that was kind of part of the test, was I just wanted to kind of to gauge kind of where I was in relation to the internet, the sort of the collective consciousness of the internet, and to kind of gauge, my progress, in that way. And to kind of, because you can get to a point, reality is a fascinating thing. And this is one of the things that, quantum physics has discovered, that, reality is non-local. It's not an actual physical thing. It's all a projection of our minds. It's an interpretation of our minds. And if you're a believer in the Hermetics, I'm a believer in Hermetics, and the first principle of Hermetics is a principle of mentalism, which all is mind. Everything is an emanation of the God mind. And then we're all like little subsets of that emanation, right? And then our consciousness has an effect on our version of reality. And so, once you kind of get better and more comfortable with some of that kind of stuff, you can interact with reality in some really interesting ways, and you can get like feedback from reality on, where you're at, and, you can make, it's fascinating. So anyway, and the internet, it used to be more interesting to me in that way, because you have to understand, it is a step removed, because it is technology. It's a technological means of, reality. So it is sort of, it's a step removed from nature. It's a step removed from God. And it's, it's like the copy of a copy, right? It just becomes more incoherent the more copies of a copy you make, right? And so it's like a, it's a hindrance. It's a limitation that, one of the reasons why I wanted to get back into nature. I wanted to remove the technological limitation, interact more directly with, reality, with nature, with God. So the tests used to be more interesting. The internet could be a little bit more of a more fascinating feedback system in those ways. But now I'm just finding out, as I'm interacting and projecting some stuff out onto the internet, that a lot of the feedback I'm getting is it's just a lot of the same old stuff. I mean, it's repetitive. It's like an old lesson. It's it's a karmic cycle that, I just don't need to be a part of and entertain anymore. And so, I mean, that really was kind of the lesson. That's just where I'm coming from. I just want to make this clear. I mean, I don't hate anybody. I really don't. I mean, it's damaging to me to hate on anybody or to be angry with anybody. And there's some people that I still have some raw feelings for that I'm still working through. But, that's on me, and I'll work through it in time. But I really don't, all those, people from the old community. I am as indifferent towards you as I could possibly be towards, Scotty and Rally and Brutal Mafia and Ronaldo, ODN, Chrissy's Corner, Money Mike. I mean, just tons of people. I don't care. I mean, I'm indifferent toward you. I mean, a lot of you, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again, you're coming at me. You're the one trying to trip me. You're like low-level demons just trying to trip me up, just trying to throw me off my path. But you're using the same old stuff. You're just trying to keep me stuck in the same old karmic cycle. I'm just not going to have it, I mean, I honestly wish this for everybody, that you can change your lives, because I know a lot of you are in pain. I know. You won't admit it. A lot of you won't admit it. But I know, I can feel it, I can sense it, I can see it. It's just in a lot of the things that you do and you say. And you don't have to be. You don't have to be in pain. You don't have to be stuck in those old patterns and ruts and stuff. You don't. Nobody has to. It's going to take a lot of work to move out of, this, but it's worth it. I mean, do you really want to keep being unhappy and stuck and hurting and in denial? You don't have to be. You don't. But whatever. I mean, it's your choice. Everybody's got a choice. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. From my point of view, as somebody I have worked and processed through a shitload of trauma in the last 6 months. I mean, trauma from, old, and we're talking about generational trauma on top of this kind of stuff. I'm breaking karmic cycles and whatnot. It's honestly, I hope for all of you that you can start to level up yourselves and start to move in a different direction, because it matters. It does. It matters, And I know a lot of you don't want to stay stuck, but you don't know how to move forward. Go to God. Go to God. And I'm not talking about religion. Because religion is just a part of the trap. It is. And I'm not going to argue with anybody about that kind of shit. I'm not argument about that kind of stuff is a distraction. Right? And that's what a lot of people want to do. They just want to get you into those kinds of, distractions and pull you away from what matters. Go to God. I'm telling you, man, reality is it's fascinating. It's you can interact with reality. You can interact with God, because it's all God. It's all God in the end. You can interact with God on a really deep, interesting level. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. It's a fascinating place, man. But anyway, the whole spiritual test, because it's when you're interacting with reality in that kind of way, you're going to be tested, And these are just, the kinds of tests that I sort of put myself through in the last 24 hours was just pointless. It's just ended up just being like, okay, well, anyway, just like, oh, so same old shit. Gotcha. All right. So I'm just going backwards, So, okay, so don't do that. You can go forwards, if you're always thinking about, grinding on the same old shit and, how somebody hurt you or, the mean things that somebody said to you. And you don't have to live like that. You don't have to be stuck in that mindset of, fuck that person. I'm going to get back at that person. Because I know a lot of you are. A lot of you are. Whether you want to own it or not, it's not healthy. It's just not. And if you don't want to stay stuck in that mindset and that cycle, there are other solutions. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, man. Just go to God. Go get into nature. Clear your mind. Meditate. It's going to take some time. And it's going to take a lot of effort, because I know a lot of you are holding on to a lot of shit, man. You're holding on to a lot of shit. You don't have to hold on to it. You don't. Because the only one who's affected by it is you. Anyway. I have no ill will towards anybody. I just don't want to be stuck in the same old karmic loops, It's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I wish the best for you, all of you, truly, truly.